much money do you actually need to launch a brand onto Amazon? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you the no BS complete guide to exactly what you'll need to launch your own money-making business on Amazon. Now, if you like this kind of information where I'm giving you practical advice to grow your e-commerce business, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. That way I will know you want more information just like this. Also consider subscribing to my YouTube channel just down there, because we post brand new money making information just like this each and every day. With that being said, let's get into it. Here's our 5 things to consider. The landed cost. So landed cost means the cost of the product when you add everything together. And it lands in FBA warehouse. Okay, so it arrives in the FBA warehouse. So that could include things like the unit cost of the product and the cost to ship the product from China to Australia, America, UK, wherever it is, and the customs duty payable and any taxes that are payable, and any forwarder fees, customs broker fees, blah, 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 okay? So whatever the sum total of that is, divide it by the number of units you've got, and that then becomes your landed cost, okay? Lead time is the time it takes from when you pay your initial deposit, say it's 50% deposit, 30% deposit, whatever it may be, to actually then having the product ready. And again, typically in the warehouse in Amazon, for instance, that's your lead time. Sales velocity, how many sales you make per day is the easiest way of explaining that, okay? How fast your sales are, we call it velocity, but really what it means is how many sales you're anticipating, in this instance, making per day. What your marketing launch costs will be. I've got a really good rule of thumb for that. And then your second order. Okay, second order. So let's just break this down and go into it a little bit deeper. So first one is landed costs. Doink. So that's going to be a function of all of these things, as I said. Okay, and let's say, just for ease of doing some maths together, that our unit cost, which is different. So unit cost is the cost of the thing to buy from the supplier per unit, okay? Unit cost, let's say that's $3, and you can have that in whatever particular currency you want it to be in, okay? Unit cost would be that. And then when we factor in all these other things, let's say our landed cost, I don't know, let's say it's $5, okay? I think that is a fair and accurate, depending on what we're doing, of course, fair and accurate assessment, okay? So now we've got a landed cost of $5. Hold that thought. So our second thing, lead time. So let's go through lead time. I'll start. I place my order. Boom, that's the first thing I'm going to do. Then what happens? How long from when I what's the next thing after I place my order? I say, yes, I want to go. I want to hit go. I'm doing that via email. What's next? What do I do next? What have I got to do next? I've got to pay a deposit. Okay. Typically that means I've got to wait for that money to clear in their account before they will start. Okay, just something to consider. What comes next? We pay the deposit. Then as far as lead time goes, what will happen next is they will go into production. So they will then put your product onto their production line, and depending on how busy they are, they'll start the production process, okay? And typically that takes around about 3 weeks. And about 3 weeks on average, sometimes more, sometimes less. 3 weeks is a good average though. And it includes, of course, if you do it, a mid-production inspection, okay? So you've got that 21 days we are now at. So 21 days later, we're now ready with our product. What's the next thing we're going to do at that point? So the factory says, hey, we've produced your product. What's next? Inspections. Oh, Maddie, Bert, you were on fire. So typically that's going to take, depending on who you use and also on where the factory is located, very important. That's going to take about 2 days, something like that. So to get that inspection done, about 2 days, okay? All right, they've inspected it. Everybody's happy. What's next? What's next? So it's now ready. Everybody's happy. Ship. Yep. So the first thing we've got to do, though, is we've got to get it to port, okay? And that typically takes the day, 1 day to get to port. So from your factory in Guangzhou to the port of Guangzhou, okay, just to use a Chinese reference. So 1 day to get to the port, okay? Somebody keep a tally of our days of the production cycle, okay? 1 day to get to port. Okay, no problems through port. Everything is super, super easy. Breezes on through, gets onto the ship. Awesome, okay? Roughly how long is the shipping time for, let's just say for ease of doing this, from China to America? China to America, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 months. So on average, it takes around about 35 days, okay? On average, that's our shipping time, on average, okay? What's next? So now it arrives, let's say it's arrived at Los Angeles port. Awesome, it's arrived there. What's next? Customs, good. Okay, so now it's got to get, so it's not actually in America yet. It's in a kind of weird no man's land, okay? So it's got to go through customs and it's got to get inspected and it's got to go through that process, bonding, fantastic. So that typically 3 days, customs, bonding, etc. that Adam very, very smartly said, okay? So 3 days for that. And then it's now into America, okay? So it's kind of gone through customs and now it's officially in America. What's next? John, ship to Amazon fulfillment centers? Absolutely. Let's say that goes really, really well. That's only 1 day, okay? It's only 1 day. 1 day, what am I doing? Ship to Amazon. All right, it's arrived at Amazon, okay? What's next? It's got to be received by Amazon. How long is that taking, do you reckon? How long shall we give them to actually say, oh, that's your stuff? Ah, 7 days is not uncommon. Well, let's say they're doing a great job, things going well. It isn't Christmas. Let's give them 2 days. All right, to receive the goods. Now it is live in Amazon. Okay, so that's taken all of that. What's that? 65 days. Okay, so that is our production cycle. Okay, hold that thought. That's a very, very important thing for you to know. Okay, very, very important. And it is actually one of the most important numbers to understand for your cash flow in your business. Okay, so what's next? So we had landed costs, great. Lead time, great. Next one is sales velocity. Let's take a look at that. This just means how many sales are we going to make per day? Now, we don't know with any degree of certainty exactly how many sales we're going to make per day. However, we have to make some educated guesses as to how we go about, as to how many we're going to make, okay? Suffice to say, though, let's just take, we've done our research, we've had a look at things, and we're guessing, based on our data, that we're going to make around about 10 sales per day, okay? Now that we know that, we can then also scoot back to here, landed costs, and we can also say, we can now answer the question, how much stock we need to order, okay? Because that's an interesting question. So on average, I aim to order 90 days worth of stock, okay? That's on average what I'm aiming to order. So I'm turning my stock over every quarter. That's kind of where I like to have it, where I'm targeting something like that, okay? And it gives you a little bit of wiggle room, either too fast sales or too slow sales relative to what you had guesstimated earlier on, okay? Anyway, so 90 days worth of stock, 10 sales per day. What's our first order? 900 units, okay? So that's our first order, 900 units, okay? And so now we're able to also work out roughly what our costs are going to be as well from that, okay? So 900 units, let's say our unit costs was, $5. So now we know roughly what we're going to be up for that, which is 4,500, isn't it? So that's what you're up for your first order, okay? Something to consider. And now you've got 90 days worth of stock if you're going to make 10 sales per day. Next, marketing to launch. So you can't just stick your product up on Amazon and just kind of hope for the best. That's not how it works. You'll have to do some marketing, whether that's Amazon PPC or Google PPC or Facebook ads, blah, 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 or influencers, or even depending on your niche, you might need to do all of those, okay? You might need to do them all. So for me though, what I normally say is my allocation is 50% of total order goes to marketing. So that's a good rule of thumb. So this is going to be 2,250. You guys with me? Are you freaking out because of the maths? Are you okay? All right, so marketing for launch, depending on what you've got, 2,250. So now we know 4,500 for our initial unit cost, a landed cost of the product, plus 2,250. So now we know roughly what is the cost to launch the product onto Amazon, okay? So we know that. But we also got to factor in this, the second order. You do not want to do a promotion for a new product on Amazon and then run out of stock. That's not good. You've got the big potential of having to start again from scratch if you do that, okay? So you need to have your eyes around when you're going to order your second order. So we already know we've got 90 days of stock on hand, and we also know that our lead time is 65 days for the production cycle. So when should we order our next lot of stock? More like 20 days in. So 20 days into your launch, you've got to order more stock, okay? You've got to make that decision to go ahead and order more stock, all right? Otherwise, your production cycle is going to screw you up because you won't have the stock in store, okay? So that's how much money you need. So you've also got to think about, well, that's your landed cost there, but after 20 days, you've got to pay that again. So you'll have made 20 days worth of sales, which potentially you can have in your bank account, but then you've got your marketing costs out of your first order, Amazon fees and commissions, blah, 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 okay? So it's probably more like, for that particular thing, it's probably more closer to 10,000 than 6,000. That was a video from my regular Monday Q&A session with the members of the Aussie Online Entrepreneurs. We are a community of over 2,500 e-commerce entrepreneurs right around the world, not just from Australia. There's heaps and heaps of us from all over the place. I'm from bloody England myself. So if you want to find out more about what we do and also come and join us, you can get yourself off to www.aussieonline.com onlineentrepreneurs.com.au. That link is in the description, and you're going to learn how we can help you get started, and make a ton of money in your own e-commerce business. Our members have got sales of over $50 million. Come check us out. Come join us. You'll be glad you did. See you in the next video. Bye.